Hello and welcome to the What Leigh Makes YouTuber channel. Or welcome back if you're a returning viewer. Thank you for coming back. If you're a new viewer, thank you so much for giving me a shot. My name is Leigh. This is my little corner of the internet to discuss my crafting, to document what I've been up to, and to just try and get more into the crafting world. Who am I? My name is Leigh. I am 27. I can still just about say that. Today's date is the 3rd of May 2022. I live in Warwickshire in England. I am very close to the camera today. I have quite a sore throat, so I can't project my voice as loudly as I normally would. So if I sound husky, that also explains why. I have a hot honey and lemon with paracetamol to try and ease the throat. I also have a glass of orange and passion fruit, orange and something squash to try and ease the throat enough to get this filled. I would love a drop of whiskey in my hot honey and lemon, to be honest. But sadly, I am in work, so hot honey and lemon, paracetamol will have to suffice. Everybody else is. I leave the spoon in so that I can keep stirring it. I think especially because it's got paracetamol in. One of those like dissolvable ones you just drop into water. I feel like I need to keep stirring it. They're really weird. If I haven't already said, because as always, I've filmed this intro about 20 times. So if I haven't already said, today's date is the 3rd of May 2022. This is April's roundup. Okay. So it's been largely related to knitting, which I alluded to in March's podcast. I had hoped to join a knit along run by Jennifer Shields Toland for her newest pattern called Castaway. It is a t-shirt. Sorry, it is absolutely beautiful. I hope you can see. Absolutely beautiful. I fell in love. I ordered the yarn. I was very eager for the yarn to come. The yarn came, brilliant. Got it caked up, got it cast on. I really disliked the construction. I should introduce this by stating I am not normally a garment knitter. I have knit 2 sweaters previously. They were both knit flat and seamed together, which I have no ambition to redo. They were knit in acrylic DK. They were knit when I was quite new to knitting. They don't get a lot of wear, but it's just the way it goes. So I did cast on last year a Flax Light in West Yorkshire Spinners Florist in, I think it was English Rose and Lysantheus, the peachy one, the speckled, and then the solids that goes with it. I can never remember the solid colour. But the speckled one's English Rose, and whatever the coordinating solid yarn was for it from the Florist collection. And I realised right at the end that I'd been doing the increases wrong. It was a really silly mistake, but I ripped it back and I just didn't bother casting it back on. And I've not tried the garment since. So I tried this, and I can't say too much because it's a paid-for pattern, but you start knitting the back flat, so it's back and forth, and then you seem to pick up stitches on the shoulder, then knit down, and then I would assume you pick up stitches on the other side, knit down, and then you somehow join them together. I didn't get that far. So it took me 2.5 weeks, 2.5 weeks to do the back, like literally a couple of inches on the back, and then like I'd started doing this bit here, and I wasn't happy with how it was coming together, and I didn't want to pick it up and knit on it because I just wasn't enjoying the construction of it. So I decided in the end that I would just frog it, rip it back and cast on. I wanted to do a top down raglan in the round t-shirt sort of construction, and then I was, because I wanted to knit castaways because I wanted to knit this like lace shell print here, but I wasn't too fussed about the rest of the top, so I wanted to sort of hack, not really knit many garments, and I thought I'd just hack 2 patterns together. How hard could that be? That's what I did. So I ripped it back, cast on the Flax Light again. I'm not, I think it's really hard to tell until it's properly, until there's another point where I can try it on. If I can, I'll include pictures of how it was looking last time I tried it on. So let me show you. I'm very sorry. It also drove me crazy because the castaways itself was you just started knitting stocking stitch, and it keeps like curling, and that was driving me slightly insane. So I had to wait until I went home. I was away working, and I ripped the castaways tea bag, and I had to wait till I went home to get the right size needle to cast on the Flax Light. But never mind. So I'm really sorry it is on cables and there's ends, and it's driving me slightly insane, but it's okay. So this is what I've done so far. I think that might be the front. Well, I haven't done the short row shaping. I've completely omitted that because I thought the lower down it sits, the better, with it being a summer top. That's what I was thinking. So I have done. I have used the yarn that was called for in the Castaways pattern, which is Emma's Super Silky, which is a 80% superwash merino, 20% silk, finger and weight. The solid blue is See Me Now, and then this speckled, beautiful variegated yarn is Turtle Haven. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. The other modification, so I used a 2.75mm for the rib, and then I went up a needle size for the body. I've used 4mm instead of 3.75 as called for in Flax Light pattern. The Castaways tee calls for 4mm, so that's what I went with. What else do I need to say? So the Flax Light is a free pattern, so I can discuss that more openly. So I'm actually really impressed with how much I've done in not that long, really. So I did the raglan sleeves, and then I picked up and I knit. It looks like I've knit around about eight rounds from the pickup. Knit about 8 rounds on 4mm, and then I did. I think it was knit 1, knit 2 together to cinch it in, and then I've done the 1x1 rib in the See Me Now colourway. I have not yet bound it off, which is why there's this end that is attached to the ball, because I'm not sure if this might be too tight, but I can't currently try it on to find out. That's that sleeve. So 1x1 rib here. I would love to try 1x1 twisted rib, but I didn't want to try and like overwhelm myself. I have knit until I've basically run out of yarn for body length. And I think when I've tried it on, it is around about the right length anyway. And then this sleeve is the one that I did first. We're going to discuss this. So I did it. I think I like knit enough. Did my decreases. And then was quite merrily, I'd changed yarns, changed onto the solid for the rib. Quite merrily knitting away, ribbing away. And then realised, I thought, why is this rib really big? And then realised I was doing it in the 4mm needles. And I'd already done a fair chunk, so I didn't really want to back off one by one ribbing. So I thought it would be a very good idea to take needles out and just rip back. No, never, ever, 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 ever want to do that again. And I thought because it was a sleeve, I didn't think it'd be too bad. I'd never think about doing it for a body, but I thought a sleeve might be okay. So let me get this right. So I picked up the stitches. I think I picked up the stitches and then realised that I think I picked up the stitches, and then this morning when I was showing somebody my knitting, I realised the knots that I put in I'm just using Chalgu interchangeable cables. This had come, the knot had come undone, and then it had like unwoven itself from most of the stitches. I don't know how, because it's just been shoved in the project bag, but never mind. So I've like desperately tried to like recatch everything. Smack my face. But I need to go through, and it'll need like properly picking up, because there's loads of bits where it will like have caught stitches. And it isn't, basically it's not at the point where I can just knit it, and that when I first picked it up it was the same, and I didn't want to look at it. So that's why I left that one and just did this one. So this yarn here is from where I've ripped back a bit. I do have a tiny, teeny, tiny little nugget left. I want to do the sleeves up the same length. I was going to just add whatever was left onto the end, but I think I might just chuck in whatever's left into my blanket, because there won't be much left. So I'm not sure. I can't do anything until I've done this sleeve, and then I can try it on. What else I need to say? So, oh my goodness, the sizing was interesting. So I'm obviously trying to combine two patterns. So the Flax Light I was aiming to do is a little bit frustrating, because both of the size because the sizing for both of them is sort of halfway between the other. So, right, let me... Sorry, I should be more organised. So I am doing, in the Flax Light, I am doing the extra large, which is a 51-inch burst. It says... it's 51-inch burst, but the extra large is a 47-inch. So that wouldn't give me... I am a 47-inch burst, so that wouldn't give me any positive ease. And I thought as it was the summer top, it needed to be a little bit loose. And I probably wouldn't wear anything with that fit anyway, to be honest. It's just not me. I thought I'm almost certain I read that it should be worn with some positive ease, but maybe I'm making that up. But anyway, so I was aiming for the 51-inch burst. So the Flax Light goes like 47 inches, 51 inches. And then the Castaway's tee is... I was going to knit the size 6, which would have a finished bust measurement of 49.5 inches. So it'd be It's not my placement, so I'm sorry if you can hear noises. 46.25 inches, 49.5 or 53. So they're sort of in between each other, which is slightly frustrating. But I needed it to fit the bust. So the priority was to do the Flax Light for the start. And then I was going to like adjust the stitch count further down. Which is what I've kind of done. So I was doing the 51-inch burst on the Flax Light. That's what I cast on for. That's what I was knitting towards. And then as I was getting towards the bottom, I thought I needed to sort of swap out and, you know, start considering stitch counts to get it ready to the Castaway tee, because once I ran out of yarn here, my plan was I was going to swap onto the plain blue, the See Me Now, and then just knit the Castaway's tee hemline as that is with the shell lace. But when I counted my stitches, I was one stitch too many on the Flax Light in what I believe is 51-inch size versus the Castaway's tee for the bigger size, the size 7. I'm not going to try and figure it out. But I've just decided I'm going to go up a size for the Castaway's tee because it'd be easier to decrease one stitch from where I am than trying to decrease like 20 odd. So that's what I've done. So I'm now knitting a slightly bigger size. So I'm a little bit worried that it is oversized and it hasn't been blocked. I didn't want to aggressively block it because I did think about doing the 47-inch and then just blocking it, but because it's a summer top and I've planned to, I've not worn a finger and weight top before, but I don't ideally want to wear a top underneath. I'd like this to be it. And I thought if it was oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. If it was blocked too much, I wasn't sure whether that might stretch the stitches. Might be a really naive, silly thing to be concerned about, but I didn't want to stretch the stitches and then risk it being slightly too see-through to wear without a top underneath. And then if I'm wearing a top underneath, it's an extra layer. And England is very humid. It doesn't get very hot really, but it's very humid. I'm not for it. It makes you sweat. It's not pretty. I'd like to live in a really dry climate, but unfortunately I don't. So I'm hoping that I'll get away with this. I have used 2 skeins of the Turtle Haven. I have this much left. I told you it's like the teeniest, tiniest nugget. So I have that much left. I have done a little swatch thing, but it was literally just to see what the 4mm needles were like, to be honest. And yeah, and then obviously I've got this here, which I'm hoping will be okay for the sleeves, but we'll see. But I will update you once this is finished, or I put some progress onto it. Yeah, I don't think there's much more to say. I can't do much now until this sleeve is sorted. So that will be done soon. I do absolutely love this yarn though, isn't it stunning? Oh, I should say, it is hand-dyed yarn. I really naughtily have not alternated skeins because I wasn't sure how to do it with the raglan increases, and perhaps really naively, I didn't think I used a full skein doing the raglan increases. I had to join in my next skein somewhere right towards the bottom of the raglan increases, but I did have to join it to finish them. I know that's probably really naive to think that it would be enough, but it is what it is. I'm sorry for background noise. You learn as you go. somebody, I was watching a podcast the other day and somebody said that they do, because raglan sleeves put a lot of raglan sleeves will create a bit of a weird neckline that's more square, they were saying. So they do some sort of it's a crochet chain in the back of the neck, which I might have a go at. I'm not sure. I haven't done, I would, in one of the versions, in a couple of versions, I would like to do a folded band thing for the ribbon. But again, I thought it was extra warmth. This is summer top. I want it to be as light and breezy as possible, which is part of why I'm now wondering whether this sleeve is, these decreases might be too much. So I just wanted to like cinch it in because of all the extra fabric, because I think this raglan might be too big. But I did use an extra, I did go up a needle size. So I really want to do the Flax Light again on the call for needles and see whether that makes any difference. So I quite possibly should have gone for the smaller size. But you live and learn. I'm not a garment knitter. I'm still very much beginner knitter, really. Yeah. So that's what I've been working on the most. So I should say, you can see where the skeins change. At least I think you can. It's a lot darker up here, which is where I first started. Versus down here. And actually there's some, I think it's pooling, where there's like quite stripes, especially the brown, which I don't think you get up here, which is really strange because up here you've got this bigger circumference. But I wanted the darker colour nearer to my face because I actually like teals and blues and stuff suit me. So I looked and I thought this one looked more tealy and blue. So I really wanted this one to be the one nearest to me. I'm not overly concerned about the difference between them. It might change once it's, once some more experience. But for right now, I'm kind of okay. With it. So that is in progress. I think I ripped it back, and then I think on the 20th, I think I might have ripped it back on maybe the 19th, and then I cast on maybe I want to say the 22nd, but that may not be right. No, I think I cast it on maybe on the 20th, so I think I ripped it back on maybe the 17th. That probably sounds more like it. I ripped it back, then had to wait a few days to go home to get the needles to cast on the Flax Light to do the rib. You can do, the Flax Light does allow you to go straight into stocking stitch and then pick up the stitches, and I did consider doing that. But I wasn't enjoying the Castaway's tee because she went straight into stocking stitch, and I didn't really want to pick up stitches. I didn't think it would look as neat as just going straight into rib. So that is what has been getting most of my time and attention. The other knitting that I have been doing is my sock. I'm almost certain I have shown this as a hoe previously. I just want to be sure. So this is West Yorkshire Spinners Florist West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply Florist collection in the Foxglove, which I think is this speckly one, and then Honeysuckle, which is the solid. And still haven't been woven in, but it will be. I think I have shown that on the previous podcast. And then I am partway through doing the heel. So I'm sorry, that is what it is. So I have done, I can't remember where I was up to. So I've done the cuff, I've done the leg, I've done the heel flap here, done the heel turn. In fact, I've literally just finished doing the heel turn. Alright. And then I will be picking up and doing the gusset decreases next. I am so excited, Crazy Sock Lady. The summer socks camp is starting the end of May. I am so excited. I've got a couple of sock grips on the needles that I desperately want to get off. I want to get that top done, and then my sock grips off the needles. I'd love to get all of that done before the summer sock camp, but we will see. Speaking of knit along, so that's all knitting I've been doing. Speaking of knit alongs, I can't say too much because I don't actually have permission from the host of it. But a yarn dyer from the UK has written some knitting patterns, and I had commented that, you know, the patterns are great. She provides them for free. The yarn's beautiful. And I had commented that the patterns are lovely and she really should do some sort of knit along, whether that was with her yarn or whether, you know, ideally with her patterns, to sort of promote them. And, you know, we've been messaging back and forth. She's lovely. And she said that she just wasn't sure she had time. And I said, you know, I'm happy to help host if that helps you. And, you know, we've sort of agreed that I would help her host do some admin. We're not entirely certain exactly what it encompasses yet. But that knit along is coming up later on in May. So I want to get that t-shirt, that Castaway t-shirt done before that knit along starts, because I will be knitting some garments. And then, so I will be talking more about it in next month's podcast. And then the summer sock camp starts the end of May, so I'd like to get my sock whips off the needles. I don't particularly need the needles. I would prefer the my Chalgoo DPNs versus the Knit Pro needles. So, but I'd like to get the socks that I've started off, just so that, you know, they've gone out of my headspace. I really struggle to have loads of stuff on at the same time. Okay, what do I need to talk about? So my knitting time is only slightly diminished. I'm actually quite impressed with how much, especially that t-shirt, how much I've done in how little time. It's been on needles about 2 weeks, roughly. So I think that's pretty good going, to be honest. I'm not the fastest knitter. So yeah, I'm quite impressed. But I've also had a load of training to do for work at the start of April. That was compulsory, mandatory. So that took a fair amount of time too. What else do I need to talk about? So I attended the National Wool Show. There is a more detailed video on the channel if you're interested, but I did do a multimedia weaving workshop. So that's a crafting thing, and I also did a drop spindle. Sorry, the multimedia weaving workshop was with Holly and Hummingbird Danielle, and then I did a drop spindle spinning. Is that what it's called? I think so. Class with No Moths Allowed. I did film a video just showing what I've done that was separate, so I will pop that probably on the end. Hello everybody, this is Past Leigh coming at you. I am filming this on the 9th of April 2022. I have just attended the National Wool Show. These are two projects that I have done whilst at the Wool Show in two different workshops. So I will film this section now, and it'll be dropped into the podcast, hopefully for April. As I say, this is what I've done so far. So maybe on the podcast, it may not align perfectly with whatever content you may see when I actually film it in a couple of weeks' time. But I have just come back from the National Wool Show in Coventry, the Rico Arena. I should already have a video up of that sort of reflection and review already on the channel. But I wanted to drop in and just film sort of what I've been doing, because it is Crafty Adventures after all. So the first workshop that I went to was on apologies, let me get the correct word. Mixed media tapestry weaving. Use art yarns, silk, beads, resin, charms and gems. This was hosted by the Holly and Hummingbird, Danielle of Holly and Hummingbird. I'm very sorry for the lighting. I know it's not brilliant. I'm very quickly losing daylight, but I want to get this filmed today. So this is what I've done so far. I am awaiting further instructions because unfortunately we ran out of time for any more at the time. She's going to provide a sort of some more information and a video so that I can finish this, which is amazing customer service. So this is a weaving, I think. I'm not a weaver. I have never in my life done anything of the weaving, looming kind. So I wanted to have a go and I wanted to learn. So I took the opportunity while it was here, but I really enjoyed it. I'm going to finish this, but I think it's going to be something I explore more. I'm very sorry, I'm not certain what yarn this is, but it's just loomed. And then I have this really nice, like, not that you can see very well, but it's really pretty, like, silver glittery yarn there. And then I have Sari silk. Doing something fun down here. It does need sort of trimming and prettying up, but this is as it is right now. I want to get it finished and I can see the finished piece and see whether or not I want to change things around. A part of me is quite tempted, because these were cut first and then these ones were cut later, and a part of me is tempted to move some of these. If you can tell, I can because I did it, but these ones are slightly longer and they're this size, and part of me is quite tempted to move. I'm really sorry for background noise. Sorry, you're like in the window and the window is open, someone's screaming outside. These ones are longer and I'm tempted to put some of these longer ones on this side and shorter ones sort of in the middle, maybe, not sure. But as of right now, that's how my first loom weaving looks. I've discussed it more on the review of my visit to National Wool Show, but to go along with that, just because I know it doesn't look like much at the moment, she provided me with that silver yarn that I use, and it needs rewinding. But that was like the silver that I've just referred to, and then this I think is the yarn used here. Don't know what the content of either of these is. So I've got those. I've also got some beads. I chose pink and white. We worked together on sorry. We worked together out on the beads, and I chose pink and white, and then she also picked out some like really pretty like blue green ones, which goes really nice with Sorry Silk. Sorry for the reflection. I've also got these really pretty acrylic flowers in white. I love those. I'm not entirely certain what's going to get used and how it's going to look yet. And she also told me to choose 3 skeins of yarn. All of her yarn is hand spun by her. And she told me to choose 3 skeins. I'm not entirely certain exactly what they're going to be for. But I picked up, obviously I had to have the pink glitter one because I love that. That was the first one that that was the first one that jumped out at me. But I chose those 3. I thought those 2 sort of fade together quite nicely, and then the pink, obviously I needed the pink, that was going to work for me regardless. But this one does have like the tiniest speckles of pink in it, and then this one has sort of slightly darker, it's like a reddy pink, but then in this you've also got the odd bit of, you see, yeah, of red. So I think that they sort of tie in nicely. But my thinking was that they sort of really sort of tie in nicely, because the first layer is like, she said it was mermaid, it's like pinks and peaches and lilacs and greens and blue. And then in the second one, the second layer here, I asked if we could choose more pinky tones because pink's my favourite colour. And she, you know, as soon as I did, I was like, ooh, with the pink one, she was like, I knew you'd go for the pink. So I'm hoping that this will sort of tie in together nicely. That was my thinking. So that's that project that I've done this month, today, on the 9th of April. And then I also had a go at spinning. I have done one very brief sort of spinning class talk, I suppose, previously, but I didn't get, because it's a group of us. Whereas this time it was a workshop, but luckily there was only 2. There was me and somebody else that attended that workshop for spinning. So there was quite a lot of sort of one-on-one tuition, which was really helpful. So I got my own drop spindle. There is some fibre. Sorry, this is from No Moths Allowed. I didn't say that. And I got some fibre. And then I've had a go at spinning. This is all I've got so far. It's not this one. This blue one is a Corridale, and it's been challenging because it's got a very short staple length, and it's quite a coarse. I've never used Corridale before in anything, so as you can see, it's not brilliant. But I determined to give it a go. She did say, because I messed up on one of the earlier colours, and we went through together, and she sort of evened it out for me. So I know that I could go back, I think, and spin this so it's a bit nice, a bit more consistent at some point. May or may not be this month, but we'll see. I would quite like to keep up with it, because if you practice regularly, hopefully you'll get better. But then this one here is like a dark purple, and that's 100% merino. And that one, although it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, case in point here, but it is far more consistent and far better spun than this one. So I do prefer Corridale, clearly. Sorry, I don't like Corridale, but I like merino. So that's the spinning that I've done as of the 9th of April 2022. I will let you hop back over to a future, from me futurely for you currently, for the rest of the podcast. So stay tuned for that. As I say, have a look at the National Wool Show video if that was something you were interested in. I go into a lot more depth. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was my first wool festival. I definitely want to go to more. There is one later on in May that I'm debating. It was called, but it's Junction 13 something, River. It's in Stafford. I am not rated in for work, but I'm not certain. Not sure if I'll go or not, but it's on the horizon. I might have a look at it. And I also want to pop in that in the wool show video, I was really confused about, in terms of weaving, what I've been doing, and I've now found out that when you do the loom, there is a weft that goes up and down on the loom, and then the warp is the one that goes across. And I think I was struggling to remember I think I was struggling to remember what they were called. So I've done some research and found out that. I also had a felting demo at the wool show. So I definitely plan to see some felting. That might come up next month's podcast. I haven't done any this month. What else is on my list? I also attended this month my first ever Weavers, Spinners and Dyers Guild meeting. That was really interesting. I've got a whole host more crafts I want to try. At the conversation, there was a presentation given predominantly on the silk ribbon weaving, which is, I'm from Warwickshire, which is really close to Coventry, and Coventry is my nearest Weavers Spinners Guild. So they did a talk about silk ribbon weaving, and that was a really huge industry in the Coventry area, which I hadn't realised. I knew that it did happen, but I didn't realise it was such a big thing. I hadn't realised it was such a big thing for Coventry either. I also attended a paint night, another one, which was wonderful. We did the lady, I can't remember if it's Lady in the Woods or Lady in the Park, but it was a lady. It's one of those really popular paintings that you kind of see everywhere, where it's like basically monochrome picture. It's normally a lady and she's got a really bright, colourful umbrella. I painted one of them. It was really good. So that was held in Leamington. I attended that. It was a nightmare trying to get to it because I was working that day, and then the train I needed ended up being cancelled, and then the other train coming the other way, so from Leamington the other train I needed at 22:06 was also cancelled. It was a real nightmare to get to. But the event itself was brilliant. It was great fun. I've learned some more techniques. I really do enjoy painting. It's not something I do usually, but I really do. I think I said this last time I did a paint night with them. It was held in Coventry. I really want to go out and buy loads of paint stuff and just paint. I had so much fun. Again, I will try and pop a picture in here or tag it onto the end. I think I've got a picture. But it's good. So this one, they gave you a sense of the woman, and then you did everything else freehand. My umbrella was pink, like a really bright pink, which I loved. It's not, I don't say it's not brilliant because I'm not normally a painter. And I am proud of it, and I will hang it up in my house. When I get my house, it'll have pride of place. But I think, I suppose with everything, the more you do it, the better you get. So I think, if I'd done it again, there's a few things I would change. But it is what it is. Actually, I think that's all I had to talk about today. I'm a little bit surprised that I've managed to get through everything. I'm very sorry. I make notes just throughout the month to just jot things down as I think of them, or as I do them, or as So it's a little bit all over the place. But unfortunately, I'm losing daylight. It's 20 to 8 now, losing daylight, and I really want to get this filmed. So I ideally would sit down and make really neat notes, and everything would flow. But I haven't today. I will hope to possibly next time. We'll see. So in terms of what's coming up in May, not very much. The two knit-alongs, obviously. I don't think I'll get much sewing done. Again, I think I'll be prioritising knitting even when I am at home. I'd like to get all my sock quips done. There is a Gemma S3 Designs, who has a YouTube channel, is doing a knit-along finish 9 mal, and you choose 9 things that you haven't finished. They're whips from January the 1st, so they were whips coming into 2022. And your aim is to get 9 of them finished off. So I want to try and get a lot of my sock quips done, because they would all qualify for that. I do actually have 9 things that came into me in the new year. That came into the new year with me. One of them, 8 of them I definitely want to finish. One of them I'm not certain. It's a shawl. But we'll see. So I wanted to give that a shout out too, if that was something you guys might be interested in. And so in terms of May, what's coming up, I will again prioritise knitting probably. I'd like to get my sock quips done before the sock camp starts on May 28th. I'd like to get my Castaways, my t-shirt, whatever it's going to be called, finished, and then I will be casting on a t-shirt, a garment for the knit-along that is coming up. And probably in my structure spinners signature 4-ply. I've got a couple of sweater quantities in the Florist collection, and I have overbought the garments, so a boxy fit for the knit along. So I think I might use those, although the dyer does dye their own yarn. I do plan to buy some of their yarn to support them, but I'm not certain I want in a boxy. I might prefer a slightly... I need to try a few patterns out and see what I like. That's probably the easiest thing to say. But stay tuned. I will update you. Yeah, just May will be another month of knitting, I think. I'm sorry, it feels really short. It's still nearly 40 minutes long though, so it probably isn't that short. But I hope you enjoyed it. I'm very sorry it's a little bit all over the place. I'm sorry I sound so raspy. But I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for spending some time with me. Have a lovely day. Stay crafty. And I will chat with you soon. Bye!